I kicked him in the stomach, made him fall on his back, and let out a cry of pain, angrily pointing his hand in the face to ask, "What are you doing? How dare you kick me?" His face answered coldly, "Let you go." But I didn't say there won't be accountability. Then she directed her piercing gaze at Nemo. Nemo trembled with fear, raised his hands, and said, "I am my disciple." He immediately kicked him in the back, made him fall face down into the street. "Call out an hour." This guy's face said, "Dare you?" God in front of all the people. The people say it loud. 2 Torah immortals disrupt order in the market. I will now announce my decision to punish them. Human beings are objects of coercion. Have to return it all. Damaged items compensated according to market price. At the same time, you have to pay extra for lost time at 20% of the value of the item. The origin of the penalty. We will mortgage valuable items on them. Change it to his money. If it's not enough to make them pay their debts, you said. Right now. The wind appeared, stern face, loud voice. Han vi precious. Build on the basis that the opponent is individual. If you are a prince of a country, as long as they break the laws of the Han dynasty, it must be dealt with according to the law. You did it right. What about fighting us? Our poor people are in their own land. Keep your back straight and live. Who dares to destroy 10 people and hit 10 people? To 100,000 hit 100,000. People who invade the Han land are killed. The people shouted right. We try to live with our backs straight. The people who invaded the Han land killed you forever. Long live that. The 2 Tozola water princes hugged each other and wept. Like 2 kids. They often think in their hearts. Do we have to make a big deal? After a few humiliating moments, the sun was already dark. The 2 princes of the city looked angry and angry, walking down the street and cursing at Nemo. I was so tired, there was something unexpected after work. Except for all debts, there is still money left. The deer also said if he was stupid. Prince of a country working for the common people. If you do, you'll lose face. There is a trick to killing. Evil people, we don't need faces, Sao. Nemo replied, out without losing face. We rely on our power to make money. Much stronger than the other princes. Prince Ninetone continued. The shopkeepers are fooled by us. But they don't take the opportunity to correct us. They just told us to make reasonable compensation. The Han dynasty was really different from the Kier. Everyone equally tries to move forward. Nemo also continued. It's not like in my own country. Surrounded by everyone around the palace, but I feel joy that hasn't been there for a long time. From the bottom of my heart. So the deer yelled at Nemo. Stay awake. Think about which side to stand on. Nemo in the broken head ear mood disorders say. Of course, I'm on the side of CA. So you're going to avenge him. The deer's face became filled with hatred. He gripped the paper in his hand and gritted his teeth. The more they force us to pay 10 people. Lock our troops out of the city. Now I dare because of the poor people. They hit you in the face. You have to write about water. Tell your father to swear. To wash away this disgrace should buy. His 2 worried eyes watched his brother stop him. CA don't. Cover the owner. The sun shines on the wall. Mina and Ellie hold a mini fan to shine in the face. Ellie was clearly touched. It's so hot. It's the fan that gave me my second life. Mina also felt much cooler. Ellie directed the fan towards the young master. I've been painting these days. What are you painting? I'm designing a passport. Mina and Ellie could not help but be surprised by the passport. What is a passport? Give a piece of paper for two people to see. You guys look at this first. Both of you read up. The cities have been caught recently. Large number of border crossers, not through the gate, sneaking into the water. The number of border crossers is still increasing. Cities near the border have increased trend, most obviously a month ago. The border crossers they caught crossed 2,000. High increase of 50% banknotes further explained. People crossing the border. No passport as indicated at the border, or not pass the test. Not allowed to enter. They have refugees fleeing the country. There are ordinary people and nobles who heard the name wanted to enter. There are also detectives and guests, people who are willing to sneak in. Ellie put the report card down. We used to go through the border, or increase patrol to prevent this from happening. The number of people crossing the border has increased. It's actually a little difficult to be saved, agreed. That's right. So I want to go through a passport and legislation to solve this problem. Your passport is prepared for proof of identity of foreigners. It's almost like proving our people. It records nationality, age, address where the basic information is located. There's also fake room numbers and markers. Prevent the forgery. Once the visa passport regime is in place, every foreigner who entered the Han Dynasty, they all need to go to the local consulate in the Han Dynasty or customs beside Han Dynasty to inquire. Passports that record personal information. Due to safety inspection. Later, only those with valid passports and visas. Newly passed, import-export port. No passport. Have a passport without a visa. Forgery of a passport is considered cross-border. Of course, this category. There must also be a law governing it. Coordination on the level of crime of border crossers. Conduct and assessment, enforcement of various sanctions. Mina could not help but exclaim. This way you can manage the system effectively. With those who enter, it doesn't just stop people who have their own minds from making laws. You can avoid wrong judgment. The young master is so good, Ellie still has some questions. That's a good way. Like those who came into our country. It's not safe yet. How to handle it? My dad asked me what I saw. Ellie crossed hands in front of chest, slowly walked towards the window. Missing GIA. Passport design is for the convenience of administrative management, reducing unstable factors in society. Let people live better. You don't have to chase them down. So, we can spread the passport policy. Cheers to those who cross the border. Proactively make passport and visa supplements. However, if it is in line with the policy, it will be. They can even arrange work. What about the other conspirators? Of course, we have to be aggressive. The guard laughed and praised Ellie. Handling the case more and more effectively. Mina teasing evening. There's actually been a lot of special care for her. Ellie couldn't help but blush and stutter. You're talking about something special. Finally, because of shame, Elliam pile of paper turned to run away. The passport is too useful. I have to print it out quickly. Enlist quick execution. Mina looked a little worried. Just thought of, there may be a lot of people hiding in Schengen. I'll be very worried about your safety. Or do we announce that it's safe? Tell them to pay more attention to the people outside. Come in and save the wind. On this side, I soon negotiated with no Dudai. They will take action tonight. Then he suddenly grabbed her hand and hugged Mina in his lap. He reminded Mina. What I need to worry about is how I'm going to be with you tonight. At the big market in Trongen, Prince Nemo Insecure proposes great CA. We must pass the word to our father. At least you need a messenger. Now we don't even have one. The prince laughed and told me he was ready. We can find the Torah traders. At this moment, a group of people came to ask. You're Prince Nai and Nemo Sao. When the prince heard that, he came back and asked us, "Who are you?" There was something in his heart that he could not doubt. Who are these people? How long did they last? Did you hear anything? Prince Nemo was a little excited. I don't know what they do, but it feels good. The girl remembered when the emperor came to say, "There are 2 princes in the city today. Cheated to drink without paying. I almost got hit. Is now in the paid job market." Listen to that. You shot the man who questioned the emperor. Why can you be like this right now? She stood in front of the 2 princes. We was an employee of the Han Dynasty, consulate. The emperor said the 2 princes had a little trouble. Your Majesty's representative at the consulate. Please come to the consulate. Prince Nemo wondered what the consulate was. The employee explained. The consulate is a structure mainly in charge of receiving foreign guests. After eating and drinking, 2 of you in the Han Dynasty. We will be in charge. More than the things discussed. Your Majesty will be fully organized by us. The dear prince in his guard. They were sent by the Kier woman. What's in charge of eating away at? They want to monitor themselves. So he dragged his brother away and refused. Sorry we didn't go to the consulate. The girl remained persuasive. You're still angry at the emperor's desecration. No, I just want to change my mind. You can come to us at any time. Nemo, puzzled, asked the CA. Why don't we go? The prince shouted, I haven't seen the star yet. This is the devil's successor. Let's get in touch with Tozo Ladi. Send a letter first and pretend to come back. Waiting for the father to send someone to secretly avenge. Then back to the water. Prince Nemo gave him a thumbs up when he heard that. This way or you are so good. Right now in the sky. The spacecraft came. From up there. Countless sheets of new information were handed out. The voice of the emperor. Express Night newspaper to Chong'an. Your Majesty has a new policy. Recruiting people who are not registered from outside. How much to eat 5 days later. Han Dynasty established border management policy. Full force against those who cross the border. Enforcement of immigration visa passport management. Prince Nemo excitedly expressed. You can also transmit information like this. The prince asked her what she had said. He picked up the newspaper and finished with his teeth. First, make sure you handle us safely. Then he sent the consulate to pretend to be soft. It's good now. The next management policy has just been implemented. Our plan of revenge is doomed. Prince Nemo was horrified to hear that. So what do we do? His brother replied that he could do something else. 1 meter high. I have a dog, of course. The prince changed his face. To wave to the consular officer. Wait, we'll follow you to the consulate. When his brother saw that, he asked. CA, we talk and swallow words? No need to face Sao. Han turned back silently, scolding. The nose is just a fart. The great macho can still stretch. It was getting dark inside the embassy. Prince Nemo was delighted. This is everyone's consulate. It's magnificent. The prince is now in his heart. I am so glad that you want to make me crazy. Should buy. The prince looked at one thing and another. What's that glow on our heads? It's not the same as the lights I've seen. The clerk explained that it was a glass lamp. It's powered by electricity. It's a special lamp of the Han Dynasty. Princess Gil of the Laosan Empire also praised it. No end to words. The dear prince was amazed to hear that. Princess Gil is here. He silently calculated. La Sun was also exiled to a city. Princess Gil must hate exile as much as she does. The enemy of the enemy is you. The relationship between La Sun and the NDTO zone. I can become friends with Princess Gil. We'll deal with the wind later. The girl continued to introduce. Our consulate is under construction. Extra hot shower room. Massage parlors. I hope you both swim in the meantime. Your Majesty can have fun. The prince excitedly asked her what she said about the wine. You have a bar. The girl replied, yes, alcohol is free. We have a special bartender. Can make toxic alcohol. Unique for 2 people. The prince couldn't hold his breath when he heard that. It feels too dangerous. We know that we like wine. Want to use alcohol to charm us. But. A moment later, the prince did not know how many bottles of wine he had drunk. He looked so good and softened down. There's also the smell of barley. This is the spirit of wine. I've drunk something like this before. Prince Nemo saw that and asked the great CA anxiously. Do I have to drink a little too much? CA, are we still sending messages? His brother put the next bottle of wine down on the table, vaguely asked. What to drink should not be bought. He reminded the CA. Do we need to go see Princess Gil? The prince is now a little drunk. Then I will definitely meet you. Waiting for you to finish this drink. The next day in the owner's living room. Put your passport up. The look that complements the NDTO passport. Do it this way later. Ellie can answer. I'm going to send the model to print today. Just at this moment, I announced from outside the door. At the door, I met someone. I absolutely didn't think of it. Who is it to try to guess? Is Asina Highland back? Or a prince of another country? I told you I was only half right. Right now from the door. The shadow of a person coming and greeting. Respectful to your Majesty. Tony as a glass of the Olive Empire to visit you. Your Majesty, look at the shape of the man entering. She immediately knew that she was the mother of her husband. In the capital, Tenisili sat on the sofa sincerely recounted. When Yufei and Yakul came looking for me, I'm in overseas with my sick host. Miss everyone. After returning from overseas, I know this. Go to school immediately. If I say that, I can easily leave the olive water. It's all thanks to the Tony family. Afraid of your power. I can't stop Nicola from hearing it. It's too difficult. Mina said she and the noble women. It's not the same in my imagination. Ellie expressed that she could be brave with God Zakun. Young age was born Ufi. Later, he was determined to let God Zakun take Upi away. She doesn't look like a normal woman. Tonisili continues. I heard they're in the science and engineering department. They want to find people. But I was stopped. I see Yakul's probably going to come in here to report on the job. Come find luck. I can't wait to meet this kind lady. Put me in here. He happily replied, don't be polite. I'm a good friend of Yufei, just call the Emperor. The old lady told me not to be too polite. Just sit here for a moment. I immediately sent someone to invite Kun and Yufei. Nicola brought tea to the lady for some tea. Thank you. Mina sat next to the wind. Let me call Luffy and Lord Kun. You will go faster. Just keep your head up. Ask the driver to take you. Lady S.A. Lee Tony looked at the room secretly appreciated. He's really young. Very different from the Han Emperor. In my imagination, from Olive Water to Chang'an City, I've seen the starship that's amazing. Big boats scare people. The city is clean, neat, and the happy people who live in this land. I thought the king could get lost. To build such a powerful empire, it must be a middle-aged king who lived through life. If you don't see it with your own eyes, who can imagine? Teenagers like teenagers are cherished this afternoon. He's the owner of a yakel. There must be something special about him. It attracts two people to stay here, right? After a while, Uncle Yakel and Uncle Yu arrived. Just got in. Yakel called Sally. Lady Salim also turned around and replied to Zakun. Africa looked at her thinking, but it's really Mom. Master Kun pushed Yu Fei up to remind, this child missed her mother like that. Now I see what you're doing here. At this moment, I am glad to be in my mother's arms. The corner of her eyes flowed tears of happiness calling. Mom, Lady S.A., I hugged her and comforted her. Your little sister is so big. Yakel moved his hand to wipe away tears of comfort. Don't cry, carefully damage your eyes. Lady Sally took her African hand and said, You've worked so hard all these years. I always remember you. I said, I don't suffer, Mom. I thought I couldn't see you anymore. Look at this scene. Nicola also remembered his family. I also remember you two being in danger. I know I miss my sister a little. Liu Feng laughed. Wait for her to get busy. Or she's on a trip. It's no big deal. I was surprised to hear that, so good. The thunder is now bowing with appreciation. Fortunately, we have reunited the whole family. I will definitely do a good job. He is dedicated to the lack of. Save the wind and humble hands. Uncle Kun, don't mess up. Now you're the Science and Technology Department's junior. If it's because I'm tired, the workers below will definitely appeal to me. I can't help it. Uncle Kun laughed when he heard that. How dare they? She also blinked and said she wasn't kidding. I've often taught them lately. Who wouldn't listen to you? I think Master is right. You two are so comfortable. Lady S.A. can't help but think. Your Majesty can really let go. Sergeant ceremony. I've never seen an emperor. For such friendly workers. At this time, the nurse appeared from the door to announce the young master. Dinner is ready. You can eat. Lady S.A. raised her skirt slightly bent to show, if your Majesty. If you want to eat, we go first. Liu Feng laughed casually and said, I told you the lady doesn't need a ceremony. People don't go to dinner alone. What's interesting about me? Of course, we have to eat with everyone. Lady S.A. glass surprised. This is a little bit off. Uncle Kun laughed softly. There's nothing wrong. Young people often eat with us. Sally came to her ear, he said. Even though he's the Yakel Emperor. I don't know how much. You can always eat with the king. Yakel explained, don't worry. One is that Master has always been so good. The second is our future son-in-law. There's nothing to be afraid of. To hear this, Lady Sally was not surprised. She put her hand over her mouth. How can this be? Dwarves and humanity have never been more intelligent. Let's say he's the king, we're the workers. Uncle Kun calmly replied when I arrived. You can't see it in the zoo. Humanity and the dwarves live together in peace. Sao, this place is completely free of racism. Workers do what? Young people are not that kind of people. More importantly, Luffy likes him. Lady Sally went quickly forward. A face full of worry. I am in the mood to find a good husband. 6. In the circumstances of the Han dynasty, considered, a good emperor is rare. But that doesn't mean he's a good husband. After a while, everyone gathered at the table. If you have any questions, ask your mother. Why don't you sit with your father? Sally replied. It's more convenient. Another corner. Ellie suggested that I want to eat potatoes. Mina sat next to you. Save Feng's smile introduced Theo. This is what the kitchen has deliberately done. After cutting, it will be easier to eat. The lady may not be used to using a fork. I'll help you cut it out first. Lady Sally outside laughed back. Yes, thank you, Your Majesty. She looks at you thinking she really knows how to take care of women. To save the wind in the mind puzzled strange wonder. My wife's attitude to me is a little strange. After cutting the meat, give me a plate of beef for you. I invite you to drink slowly. At this point, you can see your hands are red. He then asked me why I wrestled. Usually, FIFA's red spot explains when I hear my mother come. I'm removing the device that I accidentally hit. I can cut it myself. Stand up and say no. You go to where you sit. Instead, she cut the beef plate and winked advice. If you are injured, keep well. Otherwise, it will become more serious. Lady Sally sat to one side. I can't hide the surprise in my heart. Kun and I didn't pay attention to U's injured arm. He's paying attention. It's meticulous. More than two people in common naturally like that. There is no class and distance between the gods. Leave. Rarely you dislike the dignity of Liu Feng, also NDTO. And then she came close to me. Daughter, ask you Fi. I haven't made any progress yet. Africa is drinking fresh water. It's hard to understand what you're doing. Lady Sally holds her daughter's hand straight. Hand to your majesty. I can give you some secrets. Let me push him down quickly. Even though I had a baby that year. Between male and female, being proactive is not a bad thing. You absolutely must not insist on missing out on happiness. Yufei then flushed her face and stammered. What is fast? Mom, don't mess around. Her mother kept cheering her down. Maybe you don't want SAO. I can imagine watching the moon. Your imagination starts to fly. You're pushing yourself on the bed. Young master, don't move. Save the island guests into the owner, rotate people, lie down and tell me not to move. At that moment, she screamed out. I want to be up. Imagine coming here. Yufei directly spray out sip water, just drinking. Cough and cry out. Mom, stop talking. Ellie sitting next to me, she asked me if I was okay. Nicola expressed. If you want a drink, I'll pour more. Don't worry. Yufei awkwardly banished hand, replied, I am not SAO. Suddenly, he asked me what was above. I was so ashamed that I couldn't even raise my head. I even said this. You rush to find an explanation. I don't mean thinking about the Kier spacecraft. Is it possible to put something up there? That's right. He also returned to his seat. You care. You said that. When you eat, don't think about work. You look choked. Lady Sari asked. Your Majesty, I would like to ask you something. I want to talk to Yakul tonight. It is not convenient for you to stay with us. Can you help us take care of you for one night? When I heard you say that, my face flushed. Night in the castle. African in a white dress standing in front of a red mirror thinking. When the young master agreed to his mother's request, I thought my mother understood what she meant. But now, he took me to the other room. But if he doesn't understand, in the capital castle of his room, why did you bring me here? And this suit? I remember being with my mother. My wife gave me a bag for you. This is the dress I prepared for you. I want to wait until I get married. But today is a good time to hold on. If you see that, you are in a hurry to refuse. Mom, I can't take it. She thought it must be some messy clothes. But Lady Sally persisted. Put the bag in your hand. You said this was your mother's mind. You may not need, but in his eyes, you will always be a small girl. I can't believe that even if I don't do anything. At least let him know you're grown. Chest out chest, legs out legs. My wife is a woman, right? Back to the present, I am determined. You're right. At least let the young man know he's grown up. Now the knock on the door. To save the wind to call. You haven't been there for more than an hour. It's probably not soaked to the point of fainting. The woman inside heard that, panicking. Without me out now. A few seconds later, she opened the door and called out in a low voice. Keep your head up and look at him in disbelief. Look, Ra Yu-Fi is also very good. And Africa is ashamed to think. The young master's eyes always stopped on him. Too shy to approach her and ask her. Why are you red? I know. Panicked, stuttering behind me? It's not a shortage. Don't worry, don't move. Take your hand closer to you. I secretly hoped my mother's way would work. The young man wants. Why is this so stressful? Should I close my eyes? Save the wind turn on. The fan on the ceiling is spinning. You just enjoy it and say, you've been in there too long. Let me be so hot. Let's try the ceiling fan. Very cool enough horsepower, how better yet. If it can be used by everyone, it's good. Separate oil generation items funding. I'll give you double your strength. Certain, very soon we'll study the second generation generator. At this point, my mouth is empty of thoughts. I dress like that. The young master discussed the generator with me again. The young man does not consider himself a woman at all. Don't want to hold back. Yufei came to hold the wind. She pressed him against the wall as caved on. Missing GIA. Now, it's time to discuss SAO black oil generators. I have a little picture now. Peter doesn't he let you say more. She limped her feet face up Cao Chu, lightly lips forward. Her lips finally reached his chin. Both of you open your eyes to each other. I finally realized the action. In my moment of anger. You're flushing your face out of face. I am so short. I just kissed my chin, so get out. Mom, what a bad idea. If you ask me, Ra, I want to tell you. Yufei awkwardly took off the young master. Sorry, I didn't let you finish. Liu Feng hugged her. You pick her up. Then close your eyes and kiss her lips. Yufei glowed in amazement. Young master. Your face is getting redder and redder. They both fall on the bed, and everything happens. It was a very warm night. The next day in painting class. Jenny was standing and giving a lecture. In painting techniques, can directly use the color scheme method. Just like that. On stucco paper, outline the body contours of the previous object, then based on the nuanced sense of the object, or the color texture of the painting starts to blend. This way of painting requires quite a lot of paint. The pen will also be clearer. Princess Gil stood outside the window and looked out. Jenny's a real teacher. What she taught me I'd never heard of before. This class is larger than 10 people. I've only ever studied one-on-one with a teacher before. Izina, take a look. The white sculpture on the platform is so special. Their prices are also different from mine. Izina leaned against the wall. This is probably how to draw the SAO, Your Majesty. The statue, too. Jenny is still teaching. Next is free time. People can draw according to the pictures before. Or you can practice still life painting. Princess Gil Express, now Jenny, is confident. Before, when she was in La Seine, there is rarely such a bright spirit. I remember when I was a kid, Jenny was crying and telling me, just because you're my own, so everyone doesn't like you. I want your painting. But at SAO, even my father is so cold to me. I'm not a SAO child. The princess advised Jenny. You are my father's son. Of course, my father likes me. Who raped you, said Cho Gil. You will be ashamed to help me. Princess Gil's second Jenny is now full of pride, in the impression that she's a sister who always needs her protection. I can't believe I haven't seen you in months. She's different like that. Maybe she really found what she wanted. Suddenly, Jenny looked out the door. She ran out the classroom door and Gil waved his hand. Don't come here. Don't miss my teaching. Jenny didn't notice. She ran to hug her sister and asked, Why are you here? I miss you so much. Princess Gil the scribe told me not to come out here. Jenny was reassured. Now they're free to practice without you. You two haven't seen each other for a long time. But Gil kept reminding me that Hygiena's been with me lately. Now tired to sleep. Let's keep it down. Jenny also agreed. So we're going somewhere else for a walk. Let Hygina here rest for a while. They both walked and talked. I was worried before. I don't know if you're in danger. Now I see you think a lot. Looking through you is good, Jenny confessed. Fortunately for you, Your Majesty, I found my place here. Live very happily. Save Your Majesty, I didn't just teach you a lot of new art. Give me a chance to be a teacher. This art school is a public gallery, built by him. No charge. Anyone who wants to learn to paint can apply. The students here are mostly commoners. I've learned a lot from them. I've always been confused before. Is there anyone who loves you that's not too narrow? There are more important things in this world. For example, dreams. But these things aren't the point. Your Majesty wants to expand this gallery nationwide. More. There's a lot of other layers that will be built. Your Majesty said he wants everyone to have some kind of skill. Try to live the life you want. I've never seen an emperor like you before. He's not just worried about the whole multi-arts world. Standing at the people's point of view to think. He really is the heart of the world. I hear you talk all the time about the wind. Princess Gil was a little angry and said, Shut up. Don't talk about him anymore. She was upset that Jenny had always talked about herself before. The rotten emperor from where Ra usurped his position. Jenny heard her voice a little startled. Dear Flushing Jenny. Later in front of you. You can talk about it. You can't talk about it. You also take revenge on yourself. Save yourself no matter how bad you are. Dare to seduce my Jenny. You're the bad guy. Just wait, Princess Gil. I'll see you. The evening at Kim's palace. The queen looked tired. Sleeping Head whispered. Since after posting, Your Majesty's focus is on the case itself. No more fighting troops. I thought you might be a little softer. Anyone who suspects anything is dedicated. In contrast, every busy day only sleeps 2-3 hours. It's time for dinner. Your Majesty is about to fall asleep again. Do you need to wake her up? In the end, she decided to call him. you should still eat rice. The case itself is never done. Forehead Rope Adventure.